What's going on YouTube? It's Ben Nader. Hey, thank you guys so much for checking out another one of my YouTube videos. I truly appreciate all you guys that have subscribed so far. This is the channel where we talk about starting a recruiting agency, getting into staffing, entrepreneurship, solopreneurship, and everything in between. So if you love that kind of stuff and you're interested in that, please subscribe down below. I'm sure you'll find some value. If you're already a subscriber, just go ahead and smash the like button. Just destroy the living daylights out of the like button for me. That would be great. So let me get into this topic for today, which is the traditional route is dead. I say that with conviction because I specifically built my recruiting agency in a wildly non-traditional way, using no traditional aspects at all, except for a couple tiny bits here and there. But overall, the reason I'm making this video is because I think a lot of people are highly stuck and very, very stubborn, thinking that only traditional methods work for starting a business or for starting, some sort of enterprising venture that they're getting into, meaning schooling or meaning degrees or meaning, professional training and shadowing people that have done it before you, etc., etc. There's a small element of pieces and parts of those that are necessary, but I'm a living testament of someone who's built a business in a completely non-traditional way, and I'd like to go over kind of how I did that. So the first thing I'd like to mention is I'm an entrepreneur. If you haven't noticed, I'm an entrepreneur and I have an entrepreneurial mindset. So from 16 and on, I was, selling things on Craigslist. I was, selling things on Amazon, eBay, flipping iPhones, starting different websites. I mean, I did all kinds of things to make money, and, some successful, some not so successful. Nonetheless, I was always of an entrepreneurial mindset, and what that meant for me is that I just see things in a different, viewpoint than others do. Where people see roadblocks, I don't see the roadblock, right? I see the way through. Or when people see, all this bureaucracy and red tape or something like that, I just figure out how do we get through that and what do we need to do to make it happen. So an entrepreneur thinks different, and that's very non-traditional. And so that was a big portion of my success and how I built my recruiting agency. Just thinking in an entrepreneurial sense, knowing that, you have to be the person to take action and actually go after what you want. No one's going to tell you or hand you what you want. You have to go after it. So having an entrepreneurial mindset in building something is very non-traditional. And I think that's a big, big element of why my business was built in a non-traditional sense. I think the second one would be that I utilized a lot of what's called sweat equity. And it's called sweat equity for a reason. Reason being is that because you are literally in the trenches grinding. When I started my recruiting agency, I was grinding. I was working a 9 to 5. And throughout my time at my 9 to 5, I was actually working while I was working, sending out cold emails, developing my pitch, developing templates, developing my website, working with different clients, getting started, taking in some revenue, reinvesting the revenue, and, just getting things in place that I need, like basic stuff like, how do I send a contract out? Well, okay, let me get DocuSign, right? So simple things like that, like sweat equity, just putting in the hours to understand what you actually need to make your business succeed. And that's not learned, I mean, like, when you approach starting a business and you go non-traditional, I mean, these are things that you have to come up with in your head. You have to find the problem, and then you have to sit and meditate for, however long it is and find that solution. That's how it works with sweat equity. Sweat equity also involves, doing a ton of research, right? Finding the problems that you need to solve, and then doing, Google research, YouTube research, some mentorship from people that are kind enough to give you little tidbits here and there. I was definitely blessed with definitely one particular mentor who helped me a ton on getting things going and gave me a lot of advice, which was very, very helpful. But putting in the sweat equity to find that person, align with them, and get them to answer some questions for me, getting a piece of their day, getting some of their time, stuff like that, and getting some real insider knowledge. that's sweat equity. And so, you know, a lot of that's very non-traditional. That was a huge element of starting my business. And then, you know, I think that, you know, that the mentorship, you know, can only take you so far, right? Because at the end of the day, you know, a mentor can only do so much for you until you start paying them, right? So nobody wants to do that. So what they do then is, you know, just basically take what they've learned and, you know, just keep rocketing up to the sky and learn more and more and more. And that's more sweat equity. So you're putting in a ton of non-traditional sense techniques and effort into your business. And that's what I did to grow my agency. A lot of you know my story. I started my agency and did 6 figures in the first 6 months. And I attribute that all to the non-traditional path that I took and just taking the bull by the horns and going after it. I'm not sure, you know, whether I'm here to advise you and say, take a non-traditional path or take a traditional path and go work for someone to have them teach you everything and then go try to go solo and work on it that way. That's up to you. I'm simply telling you my story, and I'm telling you my, you know, I'm hyper transparent. I talk about my revenue and my numbers and everything I did to scale my agency to where it is now. And it's a 6-figure earning machine, and I built that all in a non-traditional sense. And so, you know, I just think people should know that. I think that's important that people know that because all perspectives are going to matter here. When you're looking into doing something large like this, you know, the perspective that you have on it is going to be huge. So, you know, just other than that, action taking and executing is going to be your best friend. Once you've put a few of these elements in place, you know, you're viewing everything from an entrepreneurial standpoint. You've built up a structure. You've put in some sweat equity. You absolutely have to take some serious action and execution on everything you've put in place already. And that means the cold outreach. That means having difficult conversations that you don't want to have. That means refining your contracts. That means asking for help where you need it. It means going the extra mile for a client so that you can have them continue to give you business. It means, you know, really digging in and actually, you know, driving your own business in a non-traditional way on your own. Because at the root of it, we're talking about solopreneurship here. We're talking about one guy starting a business and having success and how they did that, right? And so at the core of that is a ton of action taking and execution. And if you're not doing that part, you might as well forget the first aforementioned elements that I put out there because they're just irrelevant at this point. But, you know, I'm able to tell you right now that, you know, what I did was build a business in a non-traditional sense. My recruiting agency, you know, obviously did very, very well when I started it, scaled up from there. For 2019, I'm absolutely going to meet or exceed the goals that I have for 2019. And that's just a testimony to building a business in a non-traditional sense, you know, meaning not working for someone else to learn everything you need to learn, or not, you know, having a mentor walk you through every single step, or someone build the business for you, or anything like that. That's not going to work. You know, it usually never works with someone building a business for you. But I'm not here to advise you on whether you want to work for somebody else or what you want to do, but I'm telling you my story and how I did it in the non-traditional sense. And I think it's really important for you to ponder. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope it added some value. If it did, smash the like button. Tell me in the comments what you think. And I hope you're all getting after it. So anyways, I'll be back tomorrow on Thursday with another video. I hope you guys are having an awesome week so far. And take care. See ya.